All right, last set of notes before spring break. Whoop, whoop. So as we're walking through this, we've done an intro to factoring. Now we're actually going to practice factoring. So I want you to focus in this first part that all of our invisible A values are 1. And this is important because we do something differently if we have an A value that is not a 1. So when our A values are a 1, we're going to look for all of the common factors that GCF we've been working with, the greatest common factor, is going to come into play. But we have to identify whatever the factors are and then choose the greatest. And we're going to do it for every single column. Columns go up and down. We're going to do it for every single row. Rows go left to right. All right, so let's start with our columns. Here, up and down, I can see that this has x squared, which that means x times x. And this has 2x, which is 2 times x. So what do both of those have in common? They both have an x. So I can pull x out, and I'm going to write it on top. Here I've got 3 times x, and 6 is 2 times 3. So what do both of these boxes have in common? They both have a 3. So I'm going to pull out the 3. And remember, we said operatively, we want to make sure we're writing our sign. It's a positive 3. So now we're going to do our rows. The first row, we have an x times an x, and we have a 3 times an x. So they both have an x. We're going to pull out that x. Down here, a 2 times an x and a 2 times a 3. So I can pull out the 2. And again, that's a positive 2. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write out what my actual factors are for these. So I'm going to have x plus 3, which I got from the top up here, times the quantity of x plus 2, which is what I got off of the side. So let's take a look at this next one. If we look at this next one, column-wise, and if it helps you to spell it out, go ahead and do that. There's nothing wrong with that. 3 times x here, 3 times x here, 3 times 3. So now we're looking here, I can pull out an x. Here I'm going to pull out a 3. And that's a positive 3. On the other side, for my rows, I'm going to say, oh, I can pull out an x again. And here I can pull out another 3, positive 3. So now I'm going to write out my actual answer of x plus 3 times the quantity of x plus 3. Now for my last one here, it's a little bit different because we have to remember standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. So I actually have a b, it just doesn't look like it. I have a 1x squared plus 0x plus a negative 4. Actually, let's make that a minus negative 4. So minus 4. So now when we look at this, we can really easily focus on what is it we're trying to pull out. And so I'm going to say I've got x times x, 2 times x, negative 2 times x, and negative 2 times a positive 2. So here we go with those columns and rows. Columns, I can pull an x out. I can pull out a positive 2. For my rows, there we go. I'm going to say I can pull an x out again. And now in this bottom row, I can pull out a negative 2. So when we go and write our actual answer, we're going to have the quantity of x plus 2 times the quantity of x minus 2. So just a reminder, what we're going to do is we need to make sure that we are factoring out the GCF from every column. And remember, columns go up and down, and every row, rows go left to right. And we're only doing that if our A value